Chapter 14, Deliberation. Are all sapiens this bad? All Master Chariot has taken, yes. I stood in a daze, somewhere in the middle of that unmoving clot of humanity with no idea of what to do next. Someone above me groaned, "I feel like I got eaten by a T-Rex, run through its entire digestive system, and dropped out in a warm pile of poop." The poet spoke for me, whoever she was. I smelled like sweat and body odor, and probably urine because they'd given us no time to be careful in the powder room. I joined the rush for a turn in the frigid shower, and by rush, I mean we shuffled like zombies. And like a brain-dead zombie, I forgot to wash my jumpsuit along with my body, and had to face the cold a second time. As I waited for Polar Deluge Round 2, 3 Amazonian women experimented with a mysterious bank of dispensers on the far wall. They figured out that one was a hair removal cream, and soon there was a line, girls painting the stuff on their legs and pits. Let them. I didn't care if I was a furry enchantress. The short-term boost aggression shots gave me wore off during that second shower. Fortunately, the jumpsuit material dried like a champ in the walk-in dryer, otherwise I would have died of hypothermia. Not the worst way to go, now that I thought of it. I half-dragged, half-staggered over to my bunk and found a new and dreaded challenge. The ladder. Why did I have to be 14? Could be worse, I guess. I could have been 15, and then I would have to climb all the way to the top. Instead, I was second to last, so I had to do almost all the work, but lost the right to complain. I was in the middle of giving those rungs some serious stink eye when someone called, "Hey, short girl, 14, over here." The voice came from the stack of bunks on my left. It was 38 who spoke, but she was hanging out in the corner with Loud Girl, number 9. There was also a pretty tanned girl with jet black hair and a French braid. She was smaller than most of the people here, both shorter and more svelte, but taller than me. She had the number 32 on her shoulder. There was also 21, a typically tall and powerful-looking blonde with big ears and a small chin. All were gathered around Ashley, number 6, holding court from her ground floor bunk. She leaned out, waved, and patted the space beside her. She'd been adding to the team. Did I want to be on the same one as Loud Girl? I considered my lofty bunk the alternative and took a slow grandma walk over to the group and gratefully sat beside Ash. There wasn't a lot of room on her bunk. Good thing I'm a small person. "I told 40 they'd make us run." Loud Girl stood outside, leaning beside the indented rungs. She'd all, "No, it will be okay. They love us." Idiot. Agreed. 38 was a bleach blonde. Most of the people here were bleach blondes. 32 and I were exceptions, and Ashley was a compromise with blonde streaks. "It was pure torture," Loud Girl harped. "You were right. She was wrong." Ashley gracefully interlaced her fingers and held her palms out, stretching her back. Time to be the bigger person and let it go. Too much cardio. Bad for all-around development. 32 dropped into downward dog. "You guys should stretch too if you want to avoid injury." That voice from the night before. She was the entrepreneur person with the workout videos. I inwardly groaned, but stood and bent over at the waist, palms on the floor, and started a silent count. Ashley kept her shoulders back and reached her palms up. She flicked her cool gaze over both of us and back around the room. "They're not worried about all-around development. They want runners, throwers, and fighters." That hurt. Guess I'm not going to be around long. I didn't mean it to sound so whiny. "Really?" 38 held her right leg for a standing hamstring stretch, like a flamingo. Because I thought you were tough to beat in the wrestling thing. I took another look at her. Thick brown eyebrows, and her ears had large holes through the lobes where gauges had been. She didn't strike me as familiar. Did we wrestle? She scrunched her brows. I think so. She looked to Ashley for help. I thought there was only one. She trailed off. Come on, say it, Loud Girl smirked. She's the only small person. I grimaced. I don't have dwarfism. I'm just short. Calm yourself. I didn't say you did. I agree, though. You're a tough fight. You can't be tripped, and you're strong like a freak. I didn't remember tangling with her either. Thanks. I chose to take it as a compliment, but wasn't sure if it was intended that way. I tried changing the subject. Have any of you ever heard of a Pontiki? Everyone shook their heads. Ashley stood and reached one hand for the ceiling, arching to the side. Why? When did you hear that word? Gresson. I switched legs. She called me that after the last run. 32 also switched legs. They called me Bishop a lot. I'm not even Catholic. She smiled at her own cleverness and deepened her stretch. Oh, that's good. What else? Ashley held her stretch. Anyone else get some interesting names? Algae, Poop Liquor, 21 listed as she loosely copied 38, the ear gauge woman. Weak, clumsy meatball. Skinny, which was a first. I've never been called skinny in my life. She cast an envious look at 32. They're rattling us. Ashley smoothly transitioned to the other side. She was the type of person who could make burpees look graceful. You're stronger than 99% of the population, otherwise you wouldn't be here. What I want to know is where here is, Loud Girl only pretended to stretch, putting most of her energy into griping, and how to not be here anymore. 32 straightened and patted 21's knee. We're all beautiful no matter how our bodies are shaped. Hey, 40, Loud Girl called to a serious-looking woman who had emerged from the showers. Guess you were right. Her voice held a nasty edge of sarcasm. Not that bad, huh? 40 stopped and stared at us blankly. She was the owner of the calm voice from last night, and now she was exhausted and not in the mood for Loud Girl's crap. It was pretty bad. She turned like she was headed up to the ladder to her bunk. Could have been worse. Could be worse? Loud Girl abandoned her pretense of stretching and raised a hand to her hip. Like how? A dry voice came from the alcove labeled 36. What's the matter? White girl never been yelled at before? Please, Loud Girl scorned. I can handle the yelling, same as everyone else. I'm talking about the hitting, the kicking, the forced exercise. Remember that? Calm Girl rolled her eyes. We've all had tough coaches. Our instructors, for those who don't play sports. But once again, despite all their threats and bad breath, they didn't kill anyone. You sure? Loud Girl pointed to the column of bunks between the ones we were gathered around and the one I slept in. Because last night there was a girl sleeping below me, and now that bunk is empty. Everyone looked at the hole in the wall labeled 8. A lot of the bunks were empty right now, as people were in the showers, taking their time in the bathroom, or socializing. That one was going to stay empty, though. I seriously doubt she's dead. Calm Girl crossed her arms. Delete and return, 36 emphasized, leaning out the bunk. She was the one I'd call the lean one last night. They keep saying returned. Calm Girl nodded to 36 and agreed. If they killed her, I'm pretty sure they'd have said so. They don't seem to have a problem saying the most scary thing they can think up. Yeah, but returned where? Loud Girl shot back. Back to their home? Back to storage or whatever? We've been here at least a full day, and we still have no idea what's going on. Calm Girl had started the conversation tired and was losing patience. No, we know what's going on, she snipped. Haven't you been listening? They've been yelling all day about pawn and strategy, delete and return. They even call themselves trainers. Didn't we already establish we're athletes? We've all been here before. We know exactly what's going on. Loud Girl spat. I've always had a choice before. You have a choice now, 40 shot back, definitely no longer calm. If you don't like it, then quit. Oh yeah, Loud Girl rolled her eyes. I love getting the soul kicked out of me. Running so much easier with broken ribs. Ash watched them both and softly cautioned, cool at 9. But 40 kept escalating. You know what? I'm tired and I'm sore, and your whining isn't making any of it better. Why don't you take a shower and shut the hell up? Loud Girl took a step forward, but Ash stood and put a hand on her shoulder. It's okay, she soothed, like she was talking down an angry bull. She's not worth it. Let it go. So that's it. You're with her? Loud Girl was livid, not yelling, but loud enough for everyone to hear. You want me to roll over and do everything they say? That idiot 40 isn't even the problem. It's this. She flung her arm out at the whole room. We're trapped. Today it was scary monsters and fighting each other and run till you drop. What's it going to be tomorrow? It's not going to end. They even backed off on the fighting. Someone interrupted before Ashley could respond. It was number 18, a freckled girl with a raspy voice. I was in the first group. They wanted to make us actually fight, not just wrestle. Like fists and kicks, hardcore. We were so bad they said they'd have to build us up to it. Loud Girl piggybacked on 18's claim. Did you hear that, 6? They're going to make us punch each other in the face. And who knows what after that. We can't wait around for it to happen. Your girl's right. The goddess arrived, towering behind 40. She looked immaculate, as usual. You know it's going to get worse, not better. That may be true. Ash rolled her eyes up at the ceiling where the gray orbs hung like a cloud, but we can't do anything about it. What we can do is calm down, brush our teeth, and get ready for tomorrow as best we can. Nobody wanted to do what she said, but Ash's logic was ironclad. Loud Girl did shut up. 40 sullenly climbed to her bunk at the top of her column. The goddess settled into her space too, and me and the rest of the group kept stretching. Pawn 21, or Jane, spoke softer, conversationally, to change the subject. That's a word they kept using. Consul, bishop, piece. Power piece, 38 added. I needed a name for her. This number thing was useless. 32, who I also didn't have a name for, lay on the floor in dead man's pose. Those words make sense. What about like Hoptic, Gleemek, Croco, Stade, Polly, Skokie? Pontiac, Jane added thoughtfully. What? 14, she said the trainers called her Pontiac. Pontiki, I corrected. Whatever it is, I'm not public transport. Hey guys, someone new called from right next to us, looking at the wall where the door had disappeared. What's this? We were already close, so I was one of the first to see. Numbers were listed on the wall in 2 columns. The one on the left was in sequential order. The top numbers blue, the middle yellow, and the bottom in red. The second column were all green numbers, jumbled up. It's a leaderboard. Jane was directly above me. See? It says Stades on this one. That's what they call the sprint thing with the tiny hurdles? The list changed. 38 pointed to the top. This one says Polly. That's wrestling. We're the green ones. Someone leaned over my shoulder. The numbers on the left are the rank. I searched for number 14. I figured I would be at the bottom or near it since I didn't score a single point. The board shifted before I could locate myself. Bala, someone read. Was that the creepy swamp bug thing? Yes, it was, and I again checked from the bottom up. 91 out of 98, which meant there were 7 people here who threw worse than me. If we were kicking balls, I'd be a lot higher, 3 grumbled. Wait, what's this one? It has no label. I think it's overall. 40 had climbed down to join us. Maybe she could reclaim her title of calm. On the overall chart, I was 54th, the very first yellow. Loud Girl, number 9, was in the 40s. I hated that I wasn't as good as her and her obnoxious mouth, but I was not the greatest ball thrower in the world, and she seemed to have all the natural advantages. Ashley, number 6, was ranked high in blue at 4th. Hey, I waved to her. Thanks for letting me hang out, but I think I'm gonna crash. She nodded to me and kept scrutinizing the board, her thin eyebrows furrowed in thought. I pushed through the crowd and climbed into my bunk. My body was wrung out, and my face was sore where the trainers had hit me. Felt like ages ago, but that was only this morning. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I was ranked in the lower middle. Ashley had said yesterday she wanted strong people on her team. Bet she was reconsidering some recent choices now. I fell asleep before the lights even dimmed.